Suraksha Diagnostics IPO opens on the 29th of November and closes on 3rd of December. Now, it's a full-service integrated diagnostic chain headquartered in East India. So it provides services like pathology, radiology testing, medical consulting. While it's present in West Bengal, Bihar, Assam and Meghalaya, about 95% of its revenues comes in from West Bengal. Now, the price band for the issue has been set between 420 to 441 rupees per share, and the company is looking to raise 840 crore via an offer for sale, where the promoters are bringing their holding down to 50%. To join in and talk to us on this special episode of IPO KYC, I have Dr. Somnath Chatterjee, Chairman, Joint Managing Director, and Ritu Mittal, Joint Managing Director and CEO. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. I am Reema Tendulkar, and it's been a long, fulfilling journey of more than 30 years. The first lab integrated was opened way back in 1992. Congratulations now on this new milestone.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us here.
Okay. So let's get to the business, right? Now, this is a pure offer for sale. Promoters will bring down their stake from 65 to 50%. Is that correct?
Yes.
And why are you selling stake?
So this is the first opportunity for long-term investors to have some monetization. They've been invested in the company for 32 years now, and also for our private equity fund, which is OrbiMed, to dilute their stake. They will still continue to hold 10%.
Okay.
And Dr. Chatterjee and myself, we had borrowed some money to buy more shares of Suraksha. So we want to pay off that debt. That is one of the conditions. In a liquidity event, Suraksha, we have to pay off the debts.
So the pledge today is what percentage?
Is around 40%.
40%. And with this, the fundraise that the promoters are doing, the pledge comes down to zero?
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. And what about the debt and the cash in the books right now? Because there is no fresh issue.
So there's any negligible debt in the book?
Single digit?
Yes.
Okay. And the cash?
Cash is around 50 crores.
50 crore. And every year, say in FY24, what is the kind of cash that you've generated?
FY24 would be around 45 crores.
45 crore, okay. Now let's talk about the kind of growth rate. Now, if I look at it from FY22 to FY24, there is a drop in your revenues, but that's because FY22 had the benefit of COVID. If I strip out the non-COVID revenues for you, have seen a growth of 21%
Yes.
from FY22 to FY24. Is that sustainable, sir?
That is highly sustainable, and we believe that going ahead, we will be able to maintain this rate of growth, if not better it, because there is a growing idea amongst people. If you look at the figures, then the rate of growth in the organized sector of diagnostics is growing very fast. One of the principal reasons is post-COVID, people have become a little more sensitive to branded diagnostics. So we believe this is not only sustainable, but this can even increase ahead.
Okay, so you're confident about maintaining the 20% kind of revenue growth, if not better it. What about margins? Margins for the company have also expanded. 29% in FY22, scaled up to 33% in FY24, and further to 35% in Q1. What is driving that?
It is basically the economies of scale that is driving it. So as we are expanding, our margins are getting better because the fixed costs are just getting divided.
Okay. But so how much more can you expand your margins from here on?
So we think we can go up to 40 to 42% EBITDA margins.
40 to 42%. So it's economies of scale. And what is the business model which helps that? Because you have a hub and spoke model.
Yes. So basically what happens is we put up a hub center and surround it by spoke centers. The spoke centers have a much smaller capex, and they also refer cases to the hub center. Therefore, we can sweat our assets better, and we are getting this leverage on economies of scale.
You spoke about market share. I think your market share in East India is 1.15 to 1.3%. Who are your large competitors in the region, and what is the headroom for growth in terms of a market share?
So when we talk about the market share, East India is a pretty huge market, and we are present in a very concentrated geography. If we were to look at our market share in those geographies, it would be much higher than 1.5%.
Okay.
And we have a huge runway to grow because there is hardly any competition in the geography that we
serve. So in
serve.
West Bengal, what would be, which is your core market, what would be your market share?
I think it would be around 10 to 12%.
10 to 12%. Incredible. Okay. But you also have plans. I was reading your July 16th, the strategy board meeting which took place has spoken about strengthening position in the core geography of Kolkata and the rest of West Bengal. And secondly, expand beyond the core market in adjacent geographies of eastern and northeastern India. So today you have 49 diagnostic centers. What would you like to take this number up to? And what are your expansion plans?
So we would like to take this number from 49 to around 100 in the next 3 years. We would definitely be focusing on West Bengal because there are still some districts which are uncovered. We would like to set up a hub and spoke centers in these districts while catering to the rural population through our channel network. And we would like to expand to Northeast India first because that is very underpenetrated and underserved. So that's the plan that Suraksha has in future. And then we would, of course, expand to places like Bihar, Orissa, and Jharkhand.
Okay,
If you look at it, then you will find that Eastern India has the lowest number of NABL accredited labs. It also has the lowest number of NABH accredited hospitals, though it has 28% of the country's population. So the headroom for growth in East is enormous. And the paying capacity in diagnostics, if we compare, matches with the premium segment. East and West pays the maximum, South being lowest and North coming after that.
Okay. So scaling up from 49 to 100 in 3 years in terms of diagnostic labs, have you divided it? How many in West Bengal? How many in the adjacent states, say Bihar, Jharkhand, Assam?
Yes, so I think 80% of the centers would be in West Bengal, and maybe 10% in Northeast, and the next 10% in Bihar and Orissa and Jharkhand. So typically what we do is we grow in a concentric circle approach because this is a trust-based business and trust grows over time. So as we expand, we are very careful of where we step next.
Okay. And what will be the kind of investment you will need for this?
So typically the investment every year that we have calculated is around 70 crores.
Okay.
And it'll all come from internal accruals.
70 crores. So about 200 crore to expand in the next 3 years via internal accrual. Will this expansion, sir, aid your margins?
It should.
It should?
It should definitely aid our margins. In expansion, we would also look at acquisitions. If acquisitions can be made in newer emerging verticals. Also, acquisitions, if they come at a healthy price line, then Suraksha is open to acquire diagnostic centers in the East.
Are you evaluating any options?
We are definitely evaluating.
I think the last acquisition was in 2020. So do you think the next one could happen in the next 12 months? I mean, how close are we?
We are very close.
Very close.
We are very close.
Okay. And you don't need funds for this? Your internal accruals are...
We'll
So
take
typically
care.
when you go ahead and acquire, say the last acquisition, what is the kind of money that you spend to acquire a center, a branded center or trusted center?
So I think we acquired 2 centers at a cost of around 4 crores.
Okay. So it's not very...
It's not, yes. Okay. Because typically we would use our own brand name. It is the brand name that is asking for extra multiples. Okay. In our core geography, we would obviously use Suraksha as the brand name, so we don't pay the premium.
You know, one of the challenges, because we have a few listed players now in the markets, and one of the core challenges for diagnostic companies has been, the inability to raise prices due to competition from online players. Can you tell us what your experience has been and what is the kind of competition that you face from online players?
Well, there was a lot of talk about online players. We haven't actually faced on the ground any competition from them. Neither have we lost our dominant position to any one of them. We had most of them coming back to us for radiology support. So we don't think, you see, like Ritu said, diagnostics is a matter of trust and the experience that you feel. So inside our own centers, we create that ambience and the customer connect is there. Unlike a pure play path where you are just collecting sample, here you have actual 3,000 to 8,000 square feet centers where you come and spend a considerable amount of time. If you're doing an ultrasound or a CT or an MR, so there is a huge customer connect. And Suraksha today actually is a strong B2C brand because of this customer connect. It is the brand name that plays.
So I read somewhere, and I'm not sure if it's true, but for the industry per se, the average selling price has been stagnant for the last 3 or 4 years. Is that true?
No, for Suraksha, we raise our prices around 3 to 4% every alternate year.
Alternate year, okay.
Yes.
So this year also you've done a price hike?
We typically do it in December.
Okay.
So we will be doing it again in December.
B2C, that's about 94% of your revenues, but your objective is also to scale up B2B from 6%, and many of your peers like Dr. Dalal, Metropolis, Thyrocare have a much larger percentage of revenues coming in from the B2B. Has it been difficult to scale up B2B? Why is it 6%? What are your growth plans? How will you achieve it?
So for B2B, what we are doing is we are setting up genetic diagnostics and molecular pathology. By this, what we will do is we will tie up with the nursing homes and hospitals in our geography so that we can give them a better turnaround time as far as reports are concerned. And therefore, we plan to expand our B2B business. Since we do not have the entire menu right now, we are not very aggressive on this front, but we are in the process of setting up the lab, which will help us cater to this market as well.
So when do you think you can scale up B2B?
I think in FY 26.
26, okay. And would you like to take it up to, say, in 2 years, can it hit 10%? Can it subsequently hit 15%? How quickly can this market grow for you?
See, we are the only lab, Suraksha is the only lab in East India which will be performing these tests. Typically, these tests have to fly out of the zone. So when we give them better turnaround time, better pricing, we don't think scaling up should be a challenge.
Okay.
The other thing about B2B is B2B in pure play path is hugely discounted.
Okay.
Suraksha does not get into huge discounting game, and so we have refrained. Where we will definitely get into B2B is the high-end part of it. So high-end radiology, high-end pathology, this is where we will focus in our B2B segment, where we do not have to give huge discounts. Being the leading player in the East, being the only College of American Pathology accredited lab, having instruments which are only present in Suraksha in East and Northeast gives us that particular advantage.
Okay, so just one final question. Tell us, doctor, your journey. You were a radiologist. You started your first lab in 1992. It's been 32 years. You borrowed 30 lakhs from her father. So tell us the origin behind this company and what the journey has been like. How did it all start?
It started definitely with a dream that you want to be a little different. And maybe I was good enough to understand that with my kind of arrogance, I wouldn't last in a job. So it was best to work for myself. The rest, Reema, I would say, has been pure God's blessings. In 1992, 30 lakhs was a large amount of money.
But your father was not a doctor.
No, he was not.
So he was a businessman.
Yes. So he was basically, so the first diagnostic center that came up in Suraksha was in the building in which we lived. That's how Dr. Chatterjee got in touch with my father. And they decided to do it together. So in 1995, we established our second center. And typically, we would add one center every year from 2007. And in 2013, when our first PE, Lighthouse, came in and put in 30 crores as capital, that's when the company actually started expanding. So from 2013 to 2024, we are at 49 centers now.
Thank you. Thank you very much and wish you both all the very best. Pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.